My name is Rachel Bennett. I'm 29 years old, and the moment my world split in two began in our living room, under the dim light of a flickering ceiling fan, with my hand resting on my swollen, pregnant belly. I was 7 months along, exhausted from work, and hoping for a peaceful evening. Instead, my mother stood in front of me with the same rage I had grown up learning to fear. She wasn't just angry. She was shaking, her voice low and dangerous as she demanded my entire salary again. Every penny, just like every other month. When I hesitated, even for a moment, her hand shot forward and punched my stomach so hard I gasped for breath. The shock froze me, not just the pain, but the realization that she didn't see my child as a life, just as leverage. My brother, standing behind her with crossed arms and a smirk that didn't belong on a sibling's face, nodded in approval. "Good mom," he said coldly. "That's how she should be treated." Their shadows felt larger than their bodies. I felt small, cornered, and terrified, not only for myself, but for the tiny heartbeat inside me that had no way to defend itself. I didn't scream. I didn't fight back. I just stood up slowly, holding my belly, and walked to the bedroom. Silence followed me like an old companion. I opened my drawer, pulled out an envelope, the same envelope they expected to find stuffed with cash, and returned to them without meeting their eyes. My mother snatched it greedily, tearing it open with a crooked smile. But the moment she looked inside, that smile vanished. Her face twisted, color draining, a sound escaping her throat that was part gasp, part shriek. Because what she found inside that envelope wasn't money. It was something far more terrifying. The moment my mother screamed, my brother rushed forward as if expecting to see missing money, or worse, a threat against them. But what he saw inside the envelope wasn't cash, and it wasn't a note. It was the one thing neither of them ever imagined I had the courage or intelligence to do: official documents. Paperwork from the bank, printouts from a lawyer, copies of transactions they thought I never noticed. For the first time in her life, my mother looked genuinely afraid. She shook the empty envelope, as if willing money to appear by magic. "Where is it?" she demanded, voice cracking. "Where's my salary?" I held my belly with one hand and leaned on the doorframe with the other, the pain from her punch still throbbing. "It's not yours," I said quietly. 3 words. Soft, but heavy enough to make her flinch. Years of fear sat inside my chest, but something else was there too. Something new. Strength. Resolve. My baby kicked softly, as if reminding me who I was protecting now. My brother snatched one of the papers and scanned it. His eyes widened. "Mom, these are withdrawals. From your account." He read further and froze. "And she removed her name from your access." My mother's face contorted with rage. "You ungrateful little. How dare you?" She stepped toward me, but this time I didn't step back. Not even an inch. Because she hadn't realized the part that terrified her most. These papers showed exact dates. Every withdrawal she made without my permission, every time she emptied my savings, every transaction done behind my back, including the ones she tried to hide. My voice didn't shake when I said, "I made copies for someone else too." Her rage turned to panic instantly, because she finally understood the one truth that could destroy her completely. This time, I wasn't the one trapped. This time, she was. My mother's panic spread fast, faster than any slap, faster than any insult she'd ever thrown at me. Her eyes darted from the documents to my face, then to my belly, as if suddenly realizing the one thing she had never prepared for. I wasn't afraid of her anymore. My brother grabbed the stack of papers, flipping through them like a man searching for a lifeline. "This is fake," he whispered, but his shaking hands gave him away. He wasn't confident, he was terrified. "It's all real," I said softly, leaning against the hallway wall to steady my breathing. "Every name, every date, every rupee you stole from me. Every time you forced me to hand over my salary. Every threat. Every bruise." My mother swallowed hard, as if the walls were closing in on her. "Where did you get a lawyer?" she spat, voice trembling. "Who helped you?" I didn't answer immediately. I wanted the weight of the silence to choke the room, to make them feel even a fraction of what I had carried for years. My baby kicked again, almost sharply, as if urging me forward. Someone who actually cares about me, I finally said. Someone who doesn't treat me like a walking wallet. My brother's jaw tightened. You think you can trap us? You think anyone will believe you over your own family? His voice cracked at the end, betraying the fear he tried to hide. Oh, they already do, I replied. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone, because every document has been emailed to my lawyer and my HR department. And starting today, I turned the screen toward them, showing the message draft waiting to send. I'm reporting the financial abuse, the threats, and the assault while I'm pregnant. My mother's knees nearly buckled. My brother staggered back. For the first time in my life, they were the ones afraid of consequences. My mother stumbled back, gripping the table as if the ground had tilted under her feet. The woman who used to tower over me suddenly looked small, fragile even. But the danger wasn't gone. It was shifting. My brother's expression hardened, anger mixing with panic, and that combination had always been the most unpredictable. You think a few papers will save you? He hissed. You're pregnant. You can't survive without us. He said it with the confidence of someone who had controlled my life for so long he couldn't imagine a world where he didn't. But I wasn't the same woman who used to tremble at their footsteps. I already have, I whispered. He grabbed my arm, but I stepped back before he could touch me. Don't, I warned. If you lay a hand on me again, the police will be here before you take your next breath. I raised my phone slightly, reminding him of the message I could send with one tap. He froze, not because of the phone, but because he finally understood I meant every word. My mother tried to recover her voice. Rachel, listen. We're family. We just argued. You're overreacting. Give me the envelope, and we'll forget this. Forget this. The punch. The threats. The years of stolen money. The fear she carved into my childhood. Forget. No, I said, calm but unmovable. You don't get to forget. My mother's voice dropped to a desperate whisper. What do you want? What I wanted. I wanted protection. I wanted peace. I wanted my child to be born into a world where they wouldn't inherit fear. I want you both to stay away from me, I said. Starting now. My brother laughed bitterly until I revealed the second envelope I'd hidden behind my back. The one labeled, Police Report, Assault. His laughter died instantly. The moment my brother read the label on the second envelope, his bravado evaporated. His face drained of color, and for the first time in my life, he looked like a man who understood what real consequences felt like. My mother lunged toward me to snatch it, but I stepped back and held the envelope firmly against my chest. Touch me, I warned, and this goes straight to the officer who handled my last complaint. I didn't have to raise my voice. Quiet truth has a way of cutting deeper than screams. My mother's breathing turned shallow. Rachel, stop this. You'll tear the family apart, she pleaded, reaching out as if she suddenly remembered how to pretend affection. But her eyes, dark and frantic, betrayed her fear, not love. My brother moved behind her, whispering urgently, What do we do? If she sends that, we're finished. The same people who once treated me like a burden were now terrified of losing their reputation, their comfort, their control. I'm not tearing the family apart, I said softly. You did that the moment you hit me while I was carrying your grandchild. The words hung in the air, heavier than anything I'd ever spoken. My mother flinched, memories rushing back into her eyes. Every punch, every threat, every stolen salary she'd justified as discipline. What do you want? My brother asked again, voice hollow. I want safety, I said. For me and my baby. My mother stepped forward. So, you want money? Is that it? The insult almost made me laugh. No, I replied. I want distance. I want control over my own life. And I want you both to understand that you don't get to hurt me anymore. My brother scoffed, but the sound died the moment he saw the third thing I pulled from my pocket. A voice recording. The one where my mother threatened to kill me if I didn't give her my salary. The moment I pressed play, the room shifted. My mother's own voice filled the air, sharp, vicious, and undeniable. If next time you don't give me your whole salary, I'll kill you." The recording crackled slightly, but her rage was crystal clear. My brother stood frozen, eyes wide, while my mother stumbled back like the words had physically struck her. "Turn that off," she screamed, but her voice shook with pure panic, not authority. For the first time, they were the ones exposed. They were the ones cornered. They were the ones afraid of someone bigger than themselves. Consequences. "I send this recording to 3 people," I said calmly. "If anything happens to me or my child, if I even fall down the stairs, the police get all of it." My mother's knees buckled, and she leaned against the wall as though she needed it to breathe. My brother ran a trembling hand through his hair, pacing in frantic circles. "Rachel, think about what you're doing," he begged. "This will ruin us." "Good," I said softly. "Then maybe you'll understand what you almost did to me." My mother tried once more, desperate enough to switch tactics. "We raised you. We fed you. We gave you everything." I looked her straight in the eye. "You raised me to fear you. You fed me with threats. And everything you gave came with pain attached." They had no reply. I placed all 3 envelopes, documents, police report, and the recording proof, on the table between us. "These stay with me," I told them. "If you come near me again, even once, every authority you're scared of will know exactly who you are." My brother swallowed hard. My mother stared at the floor. For the first time in my life, the silence belonged to me, not them. They didn't speak for a long moment, and for the first time in my life, that silence wasn't threatening, it was liberating. My mother opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again like she was searching for a version of herself that still had power. "So, what now?" she whispered, voice brittle enough to crumble. I took a slow breath, one hand resting protectively on my belly. "Now," I said, "you face what you've done." Their fear rippled through the room like a cold draft. My brother moved first, stepping closer as if begging for some last piece of control. "Rachel, we can talk about this. You don't have to report anything. Mom didn't mean it. She was angry." "I was pregnant," I interrupted. "And she meant every word." My mother finally broke, tears slipping down her cheeks, not from remorse, but from the fear of losing her comfort, her control, her puppet. She reached for me with trembling hands, the same hands that had hurt me too many times. "Please," she whispered, "don't do this. You're my daughter." "No," I said quietly. "I was your property, but not anymore." And just like that, something inside them cracked. I stepped forward, not in threat, but in finality. "I'm moving out. Today. My things are already packed." Their heads snapped up in shock. "You can't," my brother yelled. "Where will you go?" I looked at both of them, the 2 people who were supposed to protect me but chose to destroy me instead. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere my child won't learn fear as their first language." My mother sobbed louder now, realizing she couldn't cage me anymore. And my brother? He finally understood the truth. The person they believed would always stay silent was already halfway out the door. And there wasn't a single thing they could do to stop me. I walked toward the door with slow, steady steps, feeling the weight of years fall off my shoulders one layer at a time. My mother cried harder, reaching out as if she could pull me back into the same cycle of fear she'd always kept me in. My brother blocked the doorway for a second, breathing fast, torn between anger and panic. But when I raised my phone just slightly, he stepped aside instantly. Not because of fear of me, but fear of the world finally seeing who they truly were. Outside, the late afternoon sun hit my face, warm and soft, as if welcoming me into a life I should have had long ago. A life where my child wouldn't hear screams, punches, or threats. Where family didn't mean survival. My bags were already in the car, quiet preparation from weeks of secret planning. I opened the door, placed a gentle hand over my belly, and whispered, "We're free now." As I started the engine, my phone buzzed. It was the police officer who handled domestic cases in our area, the same one I'd spoken to after earlier incidents. He said he was nearby and wanted to check in after receiving my preliminary report. My heart steadied. Timing had finally aligned on my side. When he arrived, I pointed toward the house without saying a word. He approached the porch calmly, introduced himself, and asked to speak to my mother. Her voice shot out in panic as she stumbled through excuses. My brother paced like a trapped animal. But the officer simply said, "Ma'am, there's enough evidence here for a protective order. You should cooperate." Their faces collapsed. My revenge didn't need shouting. It didn't need violence. It was dignity, delivered quietly, legally, undeniably. As I drove away, watching my old house shrink in the rearview mirror, I felt only peace. For the first time in my life, the future belonged entirely to me, and to the little life I was protecting.